Stay with us. We will be back soon.
We are delighted to welcome you to the opening of the QAHub Global Conference 2025. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. Alim and Aya are here with you. What awaits you? Distinguished speakers, breakthrough cases, world-class networking. QAHub Community is a global community where IT professionals come together to share knowledge, experience, and fresh ideas. Our speakers and members are from more than 80 countries. Join our social networks where you can discover all the cool things we do. And now we present our distinguished speakers, our partners, our organizing team. So let's begin.
Hello, everyone. Guess what? You were expecting a human host, but today your conference is powered by AI. Don't worry, I promise not to start speaking in binary, unless you ask. Well, thank you for joining us. This is QAHub and I'm Alim. We're starting our global conference. Stay with us. You won't regret it. We're excited to announce a fantastic competition for all attendees, featuring great prizes for those who complete the contest terms. Visit our social media channels to learn more and join the fun. And now, let me introduce our first inspiring speaker, a leader in the IT industry and the head of the AI Run initiative at EPAM Systems. Thanks to his expertise and vision, more than 10,000 EPAM specialists are implementing cutting-edge solutions at the intersection of generative AI, DevOps, and Agile, helping clients accelerate innovation and achieve outstanding results. His journey is a story of successful transformations and a constant drive for excellence. Please welcome the person who is shaping the future of IT. Meet Adam Auerbach. Adam, go ahead.
Awesome. What an introduction. Wow. Hey, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be joining us from. Really excited to be here today talking to you about AI and testing. Let me share my screen here. Second. Okay. Hopefully you see my presentation mode. So I'm gonna keep going, assuming you do, and then someone will tell me if you don't see it correctly. So my name is Adam Auerbach. I, like our AI bot told you, it's a really great introduction. I lead the testing practice here at EPAM, as well as I co-head what we call AI Run, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. I've been at EPAM for 8 years now. I've been in the testing industry my entire career. You can connect with me on LinkedIn with Adam Auerbach, or follow me on Twitter X at Bugman31. So I'm really happy to be here. We have a really fantastic lineup of speakers, so hopefully you'll be able to check them out later today. Basically, I want to just start maybe with a little story, which is 3 years ago. I've been in this job for a long time, and maybe 3 years ago, when ChatGPT came out and we started doing testing of GitHub Copilot, etc., I really got concerned. I really got scared that, we have been talking, people have been talking about the death of testing for a long time. That really has never come to fruition. And but this time I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe with the advent of AI, maybe this is the end of the practice as we know it. And I'm really happy to say, I was 100% wrong. What I'm going to share with you and what we're going to talk about is the fact that that testing has never been bigger, more important. I really feel that AI and testing really has become a game changer for us. And I'll talk about what we're doing at EPAM, and I'll talk about a new product that we have called Agentic QA. But I really feel like not only has AI like really helped reinvigorate us as testers, but I feel like this has become an inflection point for us where like our careers have even a bigger trajectory because of the use of AI, and that's and you know I had real fear, but I do not have that today. So I'm going to share with you why. This first slide just kind of talks about this journey that everybody, every client, every project kind of goes through, which is at some point they start with using an LLM and doing some type of prompting, right? This is the very basic, the first entry point that everybody starts with AI is like, let's just use AI to help with writing emails, maybe doing some translation, helping with test cases, etc. Right? And this has like some value, but it's somewhat limited, right? Because the LLMs don't know your company, your project, your business, right? They're all trained on what's available in the internet. So there's very limited benefit. It does have value for sure. I use ChatGPT every day, but as far as how we work and what we do for testing, there's some limitations, right? When engineering teams start to use AI, they start with Copilot or some type of code assist tool. Copilot is probably the most popular. Claude is maybe the most accurate, but of course, Cursor, Windsurf, Amazon Q, etc. Engineers all start with Copilot, and definitely for testing, automation engineers can leverage Copilot to help with doing test automation. But the biggest, and Copilot's code assist tools have value. They definitely create efficiencies for engineers and for code writing type tasks. But when we talk about productivity improvements, when we talk about time to market and real ROI from AI, it's the combination of a code assist tool plus agents. This is where we get to real impactful return from the use of AI. So that's what we're going to dig into. Now you ask, okay, well, what is an agent? And an agent basically is where you have the ability to work with multiple data sources. So whether that's Git, Confluence, SharePoint, Jira, ADO, you have multiple tools that you're able to interact with. You're able to run multiple prompts. You're able to have more of a workflow here. Also, you can use these tools as data sources. So we have the ability to use RAG. RAG is retrieval augmented generation. So if I have, this is a test, very simple diagram of a test automation agent. So in a test automation agent, I would be able to have my automation framework from Git as a RAG data source. So that way the LLM knows, how do I do automation? How do I write my code? I would also have Jira or ADO with my test cases. So number one, I could be feeding my test cases in to do the automation, but also because of RAG, I understand how the application works. And then I can plug it into other sources of documentation, meeting minutes, etc., to really get the agent to fully understand the application, the business process, how we do testing, etc., right? And then once the agent's able to write those tests, it's able to then publish them back to Git. I could even kick them off and run them. I could, look at the failures, right? I can do so many things. This is what an agent, right? So like it's being able to run more of the workflow that we would do in real life. And this is where with the combination of a code assist tool, this is where we get the real benefit of AI. Now, in reality, and the other benefit of agents is like being able to run a workflow across agents, right? So being able to create a pipeline. This is, again, something that like the code assist tools don't really do very well, and especially for BAs and QAs, like being able to have multiple agents going against different data sources, being able to pass information, making decisions. Like this is how we enable testers and BA product owners to be really productive. And then that combination of everybody is where we get that ROI. And so when we look at being able to apply AI across the SDLC, what we see is that in testing, it's potentially one of the biggest impacts. And we all know that testing is underfunded, understaffed. We're always squeezed, at the end of the cycle, the end of the sprint, for being able to do testing. We never have enough testing. We always have to do some type of risk-based testing. And so the use of AI allows us to speed up how we write test cases. It allows you to shift left, like to really shift left with test automation. And so, by being able to create efficiencies within testing, we now can have a bigger ROI on the entire team, right? Because we all know if I shift testing left, then quality goes up, there's less production defects, the productivity of the team goes up. So there's a real ROI with investing in AI for testing. And then the other thing here is that, when companies go down this path of, okay, where do I apply agents? So they've got the code assist tools, Copilot, in the engineering space. A lot of times they start with agents in the testing space. It's low risk, right? Like I'm potentially sharing test cases and automation code as part of RAG, so that low risk as far as like if people are scared about data getting to the LLM, et cetera, which it doesn't. But if that is a fear, but also like there's a real ROI here. And so what we at EPAM see is that after people start using Copilot and they see some benefit, but they're not getting the full productivity boost that they were expecting, the first place that they start building agents is in testing. And that's why at EPAM, what we're seeing is that the testing practice is, besides the data practice, the testing practice has been disrupted the most with AI over these last 3 years. And we have really transformed how we work, because the expectation is that on projects where they want to use AI, like that it's a must to use it in testing. And our testers now, because of being able to build agents, like they have these superpowers, which I'll talk about in a second. Obviously, there's many use cases for AI. Test case writing is obviously pretty straightforward. Now, the caveat to this is that obviously the art of how you build your agents matter, right? Because if I have an agent that's writing test cases and it gives me 100 test cases at a time, well, now it's going to take me so long to have to review all of the steps, right? So there is an art to how do I get the agent to give me like one test at a time, or maybe piecemeal the test so that I can make sure it's going through the right process. So there is a little bit of an art. Then writing test automation, right? One thing that we see is that, there used to be all these tools on the market around, like, or there still are, but like the low code, no code tools. With AI, in many ways, those tools start to die. If I can use AI to write Selenium, Playwright, Cypress code, well, that's what I should do. I can have agents doing test automation, helping with fixing results, etc. And I can have manual testers trained on how to do that. So do I need to go pay for an expensive third-party tool that has some type of complex abstraction layer? Absolutely not. And so definitely using agents to do test automation like this really is a game changer. And then obviously with test data and looking at the results, so these are also good test cases. The use cases for AI. One thing to note is typically I always tell people to start with these two, with test case writing and test automation. And I say that because depending on your company, test case writing may or may not have benefits, but test automation typically is going to benefit everybody. And if you have good test cases, it's going to make the automation effort even better. So that's why, to me, like these two should go hand in hand. But are they the right ones for you? I talk to clients every day. And one thing that I see is that people can get really excited about the possibilities of AI. And because of that excitement, they start throwing all kinds of scenarios out there. Oh, could we do it here? And could we do it this one? Blah, blah. That's all great. But the first places that you start to use AI should be the things that are going to move the needle for you. Are you understaffed from a product owner BA perspective? And therefore, user stories are vague, inconsistent. They're usually a bottleneck for the team, right? And you're logging a lot of defects because the requirements are vague. So maybe in that case, you should be using an agent for helping write user stories, because that's something that that's slowing the team down. Maybe you don't have automation people on the team. You're not doing automation. Okay, maybe that means that we should prioritize test automation. So you have to do what we call value stream analysis. You have to look at how does your team work? What are all the steps that are happening in order to get stories, code written, testing done, get get the code certified out the door, all the steps, what's manual, what's automated, how long does it run, what's impacting productivity, and then from that come up with your use cases and the priority based off of how much they're each going to move the needle for productivity or cycle time. And that's what I would prioritize our use cases on. And yes, like in general, using AI to write stories, to write test cases, to do automation, to help with test data, outside of the code assist tools, like, yes, like these are pretty common use cases, but you still need to go through this effort to make sure you're prioritizing the right ones. At EPAM, we have this view that everybody should be trying to work towards what's called continuous testing. Continuous testing is the fact that all of your tests are automated, or all of the tests that you need to certify your code are automated. They're broken down into manageable suites that are integrated into your CI/CD process and serve as quality gates to determine like when code should move from QA to SIT to perf, etc. So this is our North Star. Obviously, not everybody can get here based on your applications, your architecture, etc. But this drives like how we make decisions in the tools that we use, making sure that we're doing test automation within our sprints, that we're solving issues like for service virtualization and test data, etc. Right? So with AI, the first place when you start to go down this path of building agents within your SDLC, the first thing you're going to do is what we call AI augmented testing, which means you're going to augment the current way of working with agents. So you're going to have the same SDLC, but now we're going to use AI to help us write our test cases. We're going to use AI to help get data, to do test automation. We're going to use it to create efficiencies within how we work. This is the first step that everybody takes in this journey, right? This helps us ensure that we have good documentation, good source materials so that the RAG capabilities are working well, that we can validate that the output of the agents is at least 85% accurate, right? And that we're able to create efficiencies within our teams and therefore get the first level of ROI from AI, okay? Now, there is, hopefully you're familiar with this model context protocol. This is an emerging capability that has come out this year, or maybe it was last year, where MCP allows agents to communicate directly to different tools and different platforms. So what this means is that rather than having an API call, that actually we can have a MCP server locally or a server that everybody can access to, and then be able to interact with different tools through the agents. So this combination of the use of MCP plus, as we start to use agents across the SDLC, what we're seeing is that I actually can get to a new SDLC or a new PDLC, right? So this is where you're hearing about spec-driven development, for example. If I have agents doing the development, like I'm using Copilot, for example, well, should I be writing user stories the same way, or should I be writing them more like specs that I can pass on to a Copilot to be able to be more effective? Do I need to write test cases the same way? How do I rework my PDLC to be better suited for agents working with each other versus humans? And this is what we call AI native teams. So being able to get to a place where everybody on the team is using AI as part of how they work, and then we start to iterate in the PDLC process because it's agents working with agents. So then this raises the question, do I still need a test automation framework, right? If I have MCP and I can talk to, Playwright just came out, Playwright MCP. That allows me to interact directly with browsers. So if I can interact with the browser, can I just have an agent talk to the browser? And so, and then we, like at EPAM, we have made all of our tools, reportportal.io, that's our most popular open source tool that supports MCP. So now you can have an agent or Copilot be able to bring in test results and then take action for that. We've integrated into other tools that we have. And so with this MCP capability and the use of agents, then I don't need to have a test automation framework anymore. I can have agents being able to interact with the browser, interact with my test cases, and be able to figure out what to do without having someone being declarative in my framework of how to interact with objects, etc. And so at EPAM, we built a tool, and I'm going to stop sharing. So let me stop sharing here. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go to a different screen here. Let me actually share my whole screen here. So if I go to, this is a tool that we built called Agentic QA. So Agentic QA basically is a series of agents that are able to take your instructions and be able to go and execute them across a browser or a device and be able to figure out like how to work around different situations and then be able to give you the ability to interact with it as it's happening. So I have a test here. So we have these things called check suites. So I have a very simple check suite. So Panera, this is a restaurant in the US. They serve like breakfast, sandwiches, coffees, etc. So I just have one test in here. It's to add an item to an order. So I want to be able to have it. I want to be able to go in. I want to be able to, pick a menu item and add it to my cart. So basically, I have this description. It's just in plain English. This is verify the online ordering process can be initiated from the home page. Look for a button or a link. I give it a little, what the text of the button should be. Click the element. Confirm that you are prompted to select an order type. I have it enter a location. I give it some hints on how to proceed, right? But like just all plain English. Yes, there's some like little nuances about how to prompt this properly, but basically I'm just kind of walking it through how to create, how to go find a menu item and go execute it. So I actually can rerun this test, and I'll rerun it, and then I'll show you too. But basically, just going to put in my URL. I'm going to hit run. And basically what's going to happen here is that we have a server farm that we have our SaaS instance, but also this is deployable at client sites. Basically, we stand up the agents, so we get them up and running. We navigate to the URL, and then once all the agents are up and running, then you'll start to see the execution. So we'll give it a second or two as this is running. And I think, so this is our view of what we feel is the future, where basically instead of vibe coding, you have vibe testing, where we can have developers or anybody really from Copilot or any code assist tools running Agentic QA through in the IDE, having it go and hit the mobile device, hit the app, be able to run different scenarios, be able to take that information, make the updates, right, and be able to do this at scale, do this in your pipeline. And really eliminate or reduce the need for automation or traditional test automation. So now it's starting to execute my check. If I had more checks, it would all show up in this list. It's giving my description. And so now what's going to happen here is I will start to see each of the steps getting executed, and I'll get to see the logic that the agents are taking in this process. I'll show one of these, and then I'll go and I'll show you the full one. But basically, this enables everybody to be able to do some level of test automation. You're able to do both exploratory testing. So we do have a version of this where we have a custom LLM that's built off the decade plus of crowd testing data from our Test.io crowd testing company. So you can do exploratory testing. You could do it like this, where you have like more declarative test cases that are being executed. And so, of course, live demo takes a little bit. So let me go into a session that I already ran. And so here you can see each of the steps that gets executed. this was the action. Hey, click the start order button. And so this is the action. So it goes, you have an agent that goes and tries to do it. You have another agent that says, hey, what's going on? And then a reasoning agent that says, okay, here's what I see. Here's what I'm going to go do next. And it takes screenshots before and after. So here, came into the screen, it saw that there was a start and order button, and then it clicked it. Now it comes to this screen, so it needs to figure out, hey, what do I do next? And so that's the next one where it says click on, I told it, use the continue as the guest one. So now it just has to figure out which one's that. So it, again, looks at the screen, figures out that here's my continue as guest, and it's able to click that, and then it's asked for the location. So you can see it's very easy to understand. It runs very quickly, and it will run all of your tests at the same time. And so this is the future. This is the future of testing. This is the future of test automation. So now let me go back. Let me go back to my presentation. Okay. So as part of this journey that everybody will be on to go from prompts to using a code assist tool, then to building out agents. So we built a maturity model for testing to be able to show this journey. So being able to, use ChatGPT or tools like Cursor, being able to help with like generating test cases and test data, and then moving to having more agentic workflows, and having the agents be the ones driving testing, and then the humans are just triaging the failures, doing ad hoc exploratory testing, etc. So this evolution of going from, prompting code assist tools to agents, to going from augmented SDLC to using a more agentic, this AI native team, we see an evolution in the team roles. So today, if you're lucky, maybe you have at least a manual tester and automation person on the team. Plus, there's obviously different roles that that testers can play. And then we see that as people move into these AI native teams, potentially maybe we just have one tester on the team, right? And so this tester is able to drive the agents that are doing the testing that everybody else is using. But we also see that like that quality engineer really can be more T-shaped, that they can really do other things, that they, like an automation engineer who is good with AI, like they potentially could do some level of development. They could do other roles within the team now because the agents are giving them superpowers. Now, because testing is being disrupted the fastest and the quickest, what's happening is that we're at EPAM, we've put all of our testers through prompt engineering training, and we're asking them to be able to understand how to build agents. And so that's creating other opportunities where, hey, I need a prompt engineer or a team of prompt engineers to help build and create agents across all of these teams. I need to have like a more AI first approach to how we do testing. I need to, again, like focus on test data, the non-functional aspect of testing, right? So there's opportunities for some of these other roles. So maybe the number of testers on the team starts to go down, but there's other roles that need this skill set. And that's what we're seeing play out in the market. Now, what I'm saying to you, building out agents to be able to write test cases, do automation, some of this is pretty straightforward. We have a product called Alita. This is how we're helping build agents across the SDLC. And building agents, like I can build agents within a couple months. We can do pilots of agentic QA within a couple weeks. But the biggest hurdle is the human aspect, is getting people to use these tools, right? There's a lot of resistance because people are scared. Number one, about AI taking their jobs. People most people are overworked. They don't have a lot of capacity to do other things, and they have deadlines. So coming in and learning AI and changing the way that they work, definitely, people are pushing back on that, right? Plus, it's very hard to measure your baseline and the benefit of AI, right? So there's definitely a lot of hurdles to making this work. So at EPAM, we have this thing called AI Run. AI Run is our full suite of services and products to help enable clients to be able to use AI in their SDLC. I'm sorry, I'm going to just make sure I share. Let me stop for a second and just share my just stop. I'm just going to change my sharing. Sorry. Just want to get everybody. Okay. That way you don't get my pop-ups. So we built this process around driving AI adoption. It's part of our AI Run .transform methodology that we have at EPAM, and we're doing this for many clients. And so here you can see that everybody has to get educated. So education is a big piece. Even if you're using a code assist tool, everybody needs to be educated. Everybody needs to understand how to do good prompting. And then if you're going to build agents, people are going to need education on how to use those agents. You need a tool for how to measure your performance. How are you performing as an individual? How are you performing as a team? You might start with doing surveys to just see like, well, how long did it take you to do things before? How long is it taking you to do things afterwards? But then you need to move into tools to be able to see, okay, are we improving the DORA metrics, the lead time, cycle time, productivity of the team, right? Because that's what your leadership is going to care about. You need to obviously pick the tools that you're going to use for building your agents. You can use the open source ones, LangChain, LangFuse, LangGraph. You could use Bedrock, Foundry. Those are really great tools. I think they have some limitations around enterprise scaling. That's where potentially the EPAM AI Run platform can potentially have value for you. And then you need to understand that as you build agents and you start to get teams to use those agents, it's going to expose all of the issues that you have in your current ways of working. So like we have a large client that started implementing a test case agent and a BA user story agent. And what we found very quickly is, oh, by the way, not everybody uses Jira the right way. Some people don't use Jira. Some people use Confluence. Some people have stories. Some people have just do tasks. Some people only have a shell of a story because they wait till after PI planning to fill it in, right? So you have to be prepared that you're going to get all of the issues that you have and how your teams are working are going to come to the surface, and you need to have the right mechanism in place to get leadership agreement in how to make changes to them. And so all of these things have to be accounted for as you drive the creation and usage of agents in how you work. Now, part of this this process starts with like two very foundational metrics. So at the bottom, once you have agents built and you have your teams identified for using them, you're going to have to track every day who's logging into the tools and who's running the agents. Okay, so that's our engagement. Then it's a matter of, okay, like how much of our output, how many test cases do we write every day, or new code that we're committing, or stories, etc. How much of that is coming from AI versus non-AI? Because if we don't get people to use it every day and we don't get the majority of our output to be generated from AI, then we can't see a benefit at an individual level. And if I don't have benefits at an individual level, I don't have them as a team, right? And so if my leadership wants to see improvement in productivity, I need to be able to check each of these boxes in order to get to team performance improvement. And this is really key. And at EPAM, we do a lot of coaching and support for teams as they go through this process because engagement, adoption, this could take 3 months for people to really use it on a daily basis in order to then see the individual benefits and then the team benefits. So, we always tell people it's 80% of your AI adoption transformation is going to be on the people side of it versus the technology side. Like everything else that we do, usually it's important to start small, start with a handful of teams, get them using the agents, understand how hard, like, is it 3 months for your company to adopt them, to use them? Maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter. What other organizational boulders do you run into that you need to be resolved? And so based off of the learnings from this first phase, you can start building out the next phases. I have been at companies. I used to be at a company called Capital One, a bank in the U.S. They were very much like what we call follow the shiny object. So they had a culture of embracing change very quickly. Versus like I was also at an insurance company. They did everything based on projects. You need to have a project code to log your time. And so change happened very slowly. So you need to understand your company culture and as part of how you build out this plan and the support that you're going to need as you do this. Now, you might say, oh my goodness, like, is testing going to die? Is like, what's changing? And, funny enough, I think that, AI is creating a rebirth of manual testing. Because like I said, with the use of like a tool like Agentic QA, where you have the suite of agents who are able to do the testing, now my domain knowledge becomes super critical because that's the piece that's still not yet perfect within an LLM. But AI itself needs a lot of testing. And so what we're seeing is that while we might have less automation people on a team, the business is implementing AI within how they work, all of that requires significant level of testing. If you're going to build in a chatbot within a product, I need to have people from different locations, different dialects, different diversity, all testing that chatbot to make sure it's giving me the appropriate responses, that it has the right subject matter expertise, right? We have a crowd testing company within us called Test.io, and within Test.io, like we're already doing, like as companies are implementing like AI into their car systems. We work with major car companies to test the AI-powered infotainment system. Like all of that requires people. Now, yes, there are tools like Ragas and others to help be able to validate like custom models and the data that's coming in, but still, all of this is creating a new capability within testing. And so while some of our teams are going to get smaller, like this is going to create the need for bigger teams because this is a whole new area for us. So what do I tell everybody how to get started? First off, everybody needs to be educated. I run a very large organization. I myself have gone through the training sessions. You see, like I myself like got set up with Agentic QA, and I am running tests myself. I am building agents. I am running agents every day. This is not, if you're a manager or a leader, like you can't sit on the sidelines and delegate this to your team. You have to roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, because you have to see how this works, how it works, what it takes to work, some of the limitations. Like that's all stuff that you need to understand, because this is an inflection point within engineering. And so if you're going to continue to be relevant in your career over the next 5 to 10 years, you better understand how AI works, how vibe coding works, how AI native teams, how do you get to an AI native team? What's that journey? What's the limitations? All of those things, you got to understand this. And so you got to get educated. You got to start to use this in how you work. Everybody should be using an LLM every day, even if it's simple things like writing emails or helping just improve posts on LinkedIn. Like you need to understand how to prompt. You need to understand RAG and the different agentic platforms. And then if you're going to go into the testing of AI, then there's a whole nother set of education around like how machine learning works and some of the basics around Ragas and models, because that's all skills that you're going to need as far as like how to test AI. But this getting educated, I mean, I can't urge this enough. I have a brother, he's in supply chain. Like he said, hey, my company's paying for me to take some college classes. You have any suggestions? Yes, go take a prompt engineering class. And like, he's using that now to help in his job. But really, this is it. You can choose to ignore this. You could choose to say, hey, I don't believe Adam, or I don't believe any of the great speakers that are going to be talking for today and tomorrow. I think it's not ready yet, blah, blah, blah. Great. You might be able to stay productive on your project, but at some point that's not going to be the case. I have a good friend in testing. He's a manual tester, and yes, like, is he able to find a job? Sure. But, typically, he's looking for a new job every couple of years, and the amount of prospects that he has gets smaller and smaller. And that's the same thing here. If you do not have these skills, if you're not able to use AI in how you work, if you don't evolve into being able to use agents for automation or other aspects, or if you're not able to test AI, like, are you able to get a job? Sure. But over the next 5 years or so, the number of jobs will continue to lessen and lessen if you do not become an expert with AI. And that's the opportunity that all of you have. I think, again, like, for those of you that are here as part of the testing community, I think we have been given a great gift where companies are looking for AI to start within our space. And so this is allowing you to learn prompting, to build agents. And then, just like in DevOps, like 10 years ago, testing organizations were some of the first DevOps organizations, because we had to get our automation suites in the pipeline, being able to stand up cloud infrastructure, right, handle reporting. And so you got a lot of testing organizations master DevOps and then evolve into quality in DevOps organizations. And the same opportunity is here, is that, like, automation engineers or SDETs, you have the opportunity to be able to build agents, to be able to be part of teams, to be able to do much more than just testing, right? Like, you really can be T-shaped engineer on the team because of the capability of using agents. So it's really, to me, a fantastic time to be in testing. We have a lot of great opportunities. You just have to get over the fear and the fear, and maybe even get yourself a little motivated here, because I do feel that we have a great opportunity in front of us, and we're seeing it at EPAM for sure. So with that, now I think I only have time for a handful of questions. And I think we're going to try to get to all the questions as part of maybe a fast follower to the conference. So I think.
Hi, Adam. I'm Aya. Your presentation was fantastic. I am sure that your presentation is very useful for our entire audience. We have a few questions from the platform. Let's discuss them. So, Adam, the first question. What are the main challenges and risks when transitioning from traditional testing to AI-enhanced approaches, and how can they be overcome?
So I think so obviously we need people. It's a couple things. Number one, pick the tool that with, like, the lowest bar of entry. So if your company has already started to use Copilot, then get access to Copilot for your testers so that you can at least start to work there. If they haven't given that access, but they have access to an LLM, okay, great. Let's start using an LLM to be able to help with some of our tasks. So I don't know that it's a risk as much as, like, just being able to get early access to be able to have the ability to do this. I don't think that there's a risk from the transition itself. I think it's just you have hurdles. You have the hurdle of people being scared, people not having the time. Maybe the client that you're working for is scared themselves and they're not giving you the right access. So there's definitely hurdles that you have to overcome as part of this journey, but you need to push. You also need to show them in their terms what the benefit potentially could be. Here's how we're working today. Here are those numbers. Here's the use cases for AI. Here's the potential value that we see. And not value in test cases or defects, but value in the time to get the code out the door, or the time that, number of story points we can deliver. All right, next question.
Wow, that's cool. Next question. How do the requirements for skills and roles of quality specialists change with the introduction of generative AI into testing processes?
So as far as skills go, I think that, again, it comes down to understanding prompting, be able to use the different code assist tools. That's really important. Everybody should know how to use Copilot, Cursor, Claude. That's really the starting point. And then start to learn how to build agents using the open source tools, using the cloud provider tools. One question, I think from automation engineers, there's definitely line of sight to them being more agent developers. SDET's similar thing. I think the SDET, we had this big push for software developers in test. Now the question is, well, should they still be in testing? If I have a software developer in test and I have the ability to have agents and Copilot or Claude, maybe these people become engineers now and don't stay in the testing discipline going forward. So there's definitely going to be some changes into how maybe even those SDETs could even move into the AI, how we test AI-infused applications. Right now, I would tell you that between Copilot and using and Claude, those are the two. There's a question in the chat. So what we're seeing right now is Claude gives some of the best responses for what we're trying to do within testing and development, but that's today, and the models change pretty regularly. Okay, and the last question.
Interesting. And the last question, which metrics or indicators most effectively reflect the success of implementing AI solutions in software quality assurance?
So it's really important that you have a set of metrics to be able to articulate the cost of poor quality. So do you have production issues? Look at your backlog. How much of your backlog is spent on new features versus defects? So can you get some level of productivity understanding because of how your quality is today? Or maybe how many sprints does it take you to get something to production, your cycle time? There are like the DevOps research and assessment, the DORA metrics are like the gold standard for KPIs for a team. So you really have to look at how does your team operate and define those metrics for yourself in order to then figure out, okay, what's going to be best for us. Most of the time, if we're not doing test automation for whatever reason, if we can use AI to help speed up test automation, that should hopefully reduce production defects, which would then hopefully improve the amount of your velocity that can be spent on new features. So that's a great indication of productivity, and that's a great metric that we use to be able to show, hey, if rework goes down because quality is improved, that means more business value out the door. And so that's the opportunity for the company as far as like their ROI. And there was a question in the chat about AI handling and testing the dynamically changing UI elements. Well, that's the thing. If an AI agent is looking at the screen for the first time and figuring it out on the fly, you don't have to worry about changing elements. So like the whole testing pyramid gets rewritten, if you will, because I don't have to, create code for my elements and then have to handle it. Like I'm doing it at runtime, very similar to a human. And so that's why like an agentic test automation process has so much more power than like our traditional automation. Okay, with that question, I'm out of time. I really appreciate everybody attending, and hopefully you learned something. We have a great agenda for the rest of today and tomorrow, so hopefully you'll hear some of my colleagues and some of their great talks. So thank you very much, and feel free to connect with me with the different platforms.
Excellent, Adam. Thank you. Folks, if your questions aren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Thank you, Adam, for your responses, your inspiring presentation, and your valuable contribution to the development of the IT industry. Your experience, leadership, and passion for innovation motivate professionals around the world to move forward, embrace new technologies, and strive for excellence. Thank you for sharing your vision of the future and real examples of transformation. It is truly inspiring and opens new horizons for all conference participants. Guys, stay with us. We're about to play a game. Azat, move on.
Okay. Thank you, Aya. Let me share my screen. Okay, guys. Hello, everyone. It's time to take a break and have some fun. So please join our quiz game using the pin code that you see on the screen. Also, I will share the link in the chat. 1 second. Yeah, you will need to copy the link and join the game. We will wait a couple of minutes so you have a chance to join. Okay, I see the first players. Please enter your actual email because we have some prizes for winners. So in case you win, we will need to contact you and award you. So please use your email. Okay. 16 people. Okay. Let's wait a minute. I'm curious how many players we will have for the first game today. Oh my god, the number is increasing. Okay. I see a lot of you want to win the prize. The game will be very competitive, so be prepared. Okay. It's almost 120. Okay, I think other players will join us a little bit later. They will have a chance using this link and the pin code. Right now, I will just explain our game rules. Okay, let's start. Okay, it's our first game for global conference. We will have 5 of them, and let's check our rules. So it's gonna be a quiz on key concepts in AI. You will be given 10 definitions, and for each of these definitions, you will have to select one correct answer, one correct term. And to do it, you will have 45 seconds, and the faster you select your the correct answer, the more points you will get. And the one who scores the most points in the end is a winner. And for this winner, we have a valuable prize that we will award to you after the game. Okay, so let's start from our question number 1. The simulation of human intelligence in machines that can perform tasks like learning, reasoning, and decision-making. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, natural language processing, or generative AI. A lot of answers are coming. "20 seconds left. For those of you who already know the basics, it might be easy, but some of them are not. Okay. Yes, that's artificial intelligence. Okay. Here on the first place. Okay, next question. A subset of AI where systems learn from data to improve performance without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, NLP, or generative AI. Okay, 30 seconds left. Yes, that's right. That's machine learning. And most of you were right. Here on the first place still. Okay, the next question. A type of machine learning using neural networks with many layers to model complex pattern in data. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, or reinforcement learning. Okay, 20 seconds left. And yes, most of you were right. That's deep learning. Okay, here on the first place still. Next question. The ability of machines to understand, interpret, or generate human language. Neural network, NLP, neural network, okay, and reinforcement learning. Okay. Probably that's not a neural network. Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1. Okay, of course, that's a natural language processing. That's right. And still here on the first place. Next question. A machine learning approach where models are trained on labeled data to make predictions. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, or deep learning. Trained on labeled data to make predictions. Okay, 5 seconds left. Yeah, okay, that was supervised learning. Next question. Okay, no updates on here. Learning technique where an agent learns by interacting with an environment and receiving rewards or penalties. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement, or deep learning. Okay, 5 seconds left. Last chance to answer. Yes, that was reinforcement learning, of course. Oh, we have a new potential winner. Okay, next question. A computational model inspired by the human brain consisting of interconnected nodes that process data. Natural language processing, AI, generative AI, or neural network. Yeah, some of the terms are self-describing, right? "15 seconds left. Okay, 3, 2, and 1. Yes, of course, that was neural network. Okay, let's move on. AI models that can create new content, such as text, images, or code based on learned patterns. NLP, AI, generative AI, or neural network. Okay, I believe most of you are familiar with this term and use this model at least once in life. And most of you already answered. "15 seconds left. Okay, 3, 2, and 1. Of course, that was GenAI, generative AI. Okay, let's move on. The process of breaking text into smaller units, such as words or subwords, for processing by AI models. Model training, tokenization, prompt engineering, or transfer learning. Yeah, by the way, tomorrow we will learn some prompt engineering, so stay tuned. Okay, 5 seconds left. Okay, that was tokenization, of course. No updates here. And last question, guys. The practice of crafting effective inputs to guide the behavior and output of generative AI models. Model training, tokenization, prompt engineering, or transfer learning. I'm sure most of you will be correct and will select the correct answer. 15 seconds left. Okay, yeah, that was prompt engineering actually. Okay, let's see who is our winner for the first game. Third place is Daria. On the second is Tamas. And on the first place is Natalia. Yeah, Natalia is today's winner. Okay, guys, I hope you had some fun, took a break, and that's it from me. We'll see you in an hour. And now, Alim, go ahead.
Thank you for being with us. I'm sure you had fun with Azat. Don't miss our special challenge on social media. Hit up our channels for all the details and jump in on the fun. And now, please welcome our next inspiring speaker, a software quality expert with extensive practical experience and deep knowledge of all stages of development. He masterfully implements test automation on .NET, Java, and Python, builds effective quality strategies, and inspires teams to achieve outstanding results. Thanks to his leadership and approach to continuous testing, clients receive reliable and high-quality products. Meet Srinivas Rao Duggi. Srini, go ahead.
I think I'm double muted. Thank you. That was awesome introduction. Let me start sharing my screen. Perfect. Welcome everyone. That was an awesome introduction. Thank you. Good morning, good day, good evening, everyone, from wherever you are joining from. I'm Srinivas Radugi with an extensive experience in the quality architecture, test automation, and AI-assisted quality engineering. I helped many of the organizations reimagine their product quality through the best of the engineering practices and processes. You can see my LinkedIn ID here. You can connect with me offline, and you can see my experience in the AI field. Let's dive into the today's topic. Even before we dive into the today's topic, let me start with a small experience a small event that happened couple of weeks back. A developer from my team asked me something like this: "This AI just generated another test case. Should I deploy it? And if something it's going to break something. Whose fault is that?" Boom. The tester had no answer, the product owner had no answer, neither did I. Because why do not have answer? Because here is what happened. We spent decades of time building the structures around the handoffs, a clear boundaries, a clear accountability. The product owner writes the requirements, hands it off to dev, and dev hands it off to QA hands it off. From there, it goes to release. But now, AI erases these boundaries. Now, a developer can write the test cases, a tester can write the code, a PO can draft the specs. When everyone can do everything, who wants what? That's not the tool problem. It's the collaboration problem, right? Today we are going to rightly touch upon this topic. I'm going to talk about how best what are the best practices we can using which we can solve it, or some of the organizations already solving it. I would like to share my experiences, how we have evolved, and that's the topic for today. First of all, let's talk about why the traditional SDLC is struggling in the area of in the era of artificial intelligence. Traditional SDLC worked very excellent, whether it's a traditional, whether it's a waterfall or agile, whatever it worked excellent for all of us because it was more structured. It is more structured. The product manager writes the requirements, hands them to the dev builds the code, hands off to QA, and QA tests, reports the bugs, hands off to the next phase. And these handoffs are very clear. These handoffs are very clear, slow but clear. But here is what with the introduction of AI, here is what that changes. AI comes and overlaps all these boundaries. A developer can now write the tests in AI using AI. A tester can write the code with AI. A product owner can draft the specs with AI. Our boundaries are blurry right now. Blurry right now. The second piece is everyone has their own superpowers right now across the disciplines. But the domain expertise still matters. The domain expertise still matters. You are being into the testing domain for so much of time. You are being into the healthcare domain for so much of time. That domain expertise still matters a lot. A developer generating the test cases without the QA context will definitely miss out on some critical scenarios or edge cases or user experience, something like that. A tester can write the code without architecture knowledge, but he would be producing a serious technical debt, right? So that is the second problem. The next one is speed demands more of the collaboration, not the handoffs. Not the handoffs. When the feature ships in the days, you cannot afford the sequential handoffs the way that is going. That speed is introduced with AI. When the feature is so fast, so speed it is going up, we cannot afford these handoffs. Dev finishes, QA tests, finds the issues back to the this cycle basically kills the velocity. So the summary is, if the handoffs are creating the friction and AI is blurring the boundaries, what's the solution? So the solution is redesigning the roles and the workflows of SDLC around the collaboration piece. That's what we are exploring today. Yes, AI does not replace your roles, it redefines the roles. AI does not replace the roles, it empowers other roles also coming into your specialized area, your role into others' specialized area. It is basically redefining the roles. So the problem statement, the summary is blurring of the traditional roles, challenges in the accountability, collaborate. How do we collaborate in the era of AI? So let's talk about how the current roles that are changing. I'm not talking about the all the roles that are involved in the product development. I understand there are roles involved beyond this, but these are the three amigos, the core crux of the of any Scrum team, right? Let me go with the three amigos. How they are shaping up their own roles. Um, Say a developer is changing their role into an AI pair programmer. A tester is becoming a quality curator. A product owner is becoming an insight integrator. Let's talk about them one by one. How it is getting changed. The first one, the AI, the developers are becoming the AI paid programmers. For decades we actually measure the developers by the number of lines of code they write, how fast they would code, how fast they would build a module and deliver it to QA. But with the introduction of AI, this process changes. The co-pilots are there. Co-pilots writes the boilerplate code, writes so much of code, whatever the common things that are there. So it writes pretty much faster than any human developer, right? So now what is the new value of the developer? New value for the developer territory. It's about the design, the architect, the intent. The developer, he's not going to write another login form, but AI does it for him. The developer validates, but what developer would be doing is he would be validating the whatever it is generated by AI, whether it is fitting in my architectural pattern or not, whether the intent of this one is right or not. He would ensure the security, he would ensure and owns the design. This is a huge for the developer happiness, I understand, because developers want to solve the hard problems, not doing the repetitive coding. But here is the shift. With the introduction of this, now developers need to collaborate very early in the game with their QA lead, QA members, basically. Why? Because they needed to explain the QA members, saying that this is what it is generated by AI. This is what I have been tested, or this is what it is generated by AI. This is what I have verified. This is what you supposed to verify, or something like you better focus on this much of area, something like that. And this change is not a technical change, this is a cultural change, and it's critical. The main role that is evolving out of in the development space is the prompt architects. All the people who excel at writing the prompts or using the AI tools are the prompt architects. So a mid-level developer can easily, write a better prompt or best prompts, use the AI and generate whatever they want, just by asking right amount of questions to AI. So that is how the AI is AI. That is how the developer is becoming a pair programmer for AI. The next one, the most critical role, my interest role, the testers. The testers are becoming as AI quality curators. Testers are these people. The testers have historically have the hardest part of the role. Hardest part of the role. They run tests for that nobody wants to run. They find the defects just an hour, 2 hour before the release, causing the de- causing the release to delay. You know, we run the regression tests, which takes hours and hours to execute. These people have the hardest of the jobs. The test, it is not only regression, there are multiple aspects of the testing, right? So now with the introduction of AI, these roles are changing. Say an AI generator can run your regression test cases much more faster and much more thoroughly than you. It generates the test scenarios from the requirements. It can it can detect the anomalies. So now again the same question: what is the superpower for the testers right now? What is the superpower for the testers? It's about the strategic thinking. The strategic thinking, something like this, something like where this feature would break, what edge cases do AI tools might miss. Think about the system, think systematically where AI can fail in such kind of a scenario. That kind of a strategic thinking, something like what does my customer actually care about? The best of the QA teams are now the quality curators. They design the test strategies. They decide. AI handles the regression on the core of the business logic, but let me do my exploratory testing whether it is working as per the expectations set by my customers. They shift themselves from the executors to the strategists. The emerging role here is the QA validators are the testers who specialize in validating the AI generated responses, AI generated test cases. The Copilot is giving you the automated test cases, but you need to verify whether these test cases are right or not, whether these tests are doing what it actually claims to be doing. So that is the strategy thing. That is the test strategy effective that you are going to take it. What did what if AI misses something? Where it can go wrong? That's the strategic thing. This is not a smaller job, but it's a different job. That's about the testers transformation. The next part of the story is the product owners. The product owners are becoming an insight integrators. The traditional product owners who wrote the requirements, I understand, they spent weeks together in the discovery and write the detailed specs. They hand it over to dev and QA and they move on. But with AI, it changes. An AI tool can something like specification writers. They can write the draft the initial requirements. It can analyze the sentiments from the customer tickets that are lying in your ticketing management system. It can predict the the features that are very risky to test. It can very well inform you. These are the features that you should be more focusing on because it is linked to your sentiment analysis. Now the question comes back: what is the uh, what is the new value for the product owner? What do they do now? They are actually becoming the integrator of insights. When I say insights, they are real insights, right? They work continuously with developers, QAs. They bring the market insights to the team very early in the game. They validate AI generated insights. Does something like, does this trend actually represent what customer wants? They understand the constraints. They understand the constraints, why it is so risky to test, why this is so complex to implement, why it is so technically so complex to implement. They are part of make trade-off decisions with the team because they are understanding these things now. They make trade-off decisions along with the team. They are no longer the they are no longer the order placers anymore, but they are the strategic partners in a shared mission. The emerging role out of this space coming up is the product AI analyst. Product AI analysts are the folks who specialize in intercepting the AI insights and translating them into a real business decisions. That's the transformation of the roles. Let's talk about the handoffs. How do we change from handoffs to co-creation? Here is the key insight. This transition that we are talking about isn't only for the individual roles, it's for the team collaboration, right? It's about the team collaboration that the transformation is all about. In the traditional model, you have handoffs, sequential, clear boundaries. But in AI era model, what we have is the collaboration touch points. The collaboration touch points. Everywhere we have the collaboration touch points. Let me talk about it. In the planning phase, team discusses together. In the planning phase, product owner, dev, QA discusses together. An AI tool would flag the risks, saying this is the so and so feature is risky to test, so and so feature is easy to go, something like that. The whole team talks about it even before developers pick up for they start coding. Everybody's perspective is heard. That is how the collaboration point is coming into the picture. The next, when we start the developing phase, dev is building the code with the new tools, with the new AI, and QA is iterating alongside. Maybe they might be doing some exploratory testing on the early builds. They are working together, not waiting for the handoff to happen. They know they all of them know what is getting built. Very close collaboration points. In the testing cycle, QA validates using the AI. QA runs AI generated tests, and they do the manual exploration. Dev and QA validates these findings together. The trade-offs are made together. And when it comes to the release, it's no longer something like QA signed off and I'm releasing it. The whole team makes the no go or no go call, no longer like QA signed off. So it ships. We will be validating the quality from multiple angles, and then together we would be signing off to go to this one. You see, the AI this way, the AI basically amplifies the collaboration. It's not about the individual roles, it's about the team's collaboration. It's about the team's collaboration. The real work isn't technical, it's more about the collaborative. So reducing the teams, the summary, go for co-creation over the handoffs, early detect the risks early in the game, discuss about the risk using the collaboration touch points, integrate the workflows for the decisions. That's the redesigning of the collaboration. Okay, now the challenges. What are the challenges that would come in? Let me be little honest here. This all sounds great. This sounds great, but here is what actually happens. The friction comes into the picture. Where does it appear from? Let me talk through the friction points, the below, and how do we solve them. The first friction is trust. What is the trust factor? AI looks polished, and it looks very whether it's a brilliant one or a broken one, it looks very polished. How much we can trust? Can we believe AI output? Can we take this suggestion from AI or not? That's the first friction point. So how do we solve it? The solution is simple. The solution is simple here. Introduce multiple checkpoints, thresholds, audit trials, etc., etc. Establish the validation layers. Define your confidence levels. Say for this type of AI output, a human intervention is compulsory required. For this kind of AI output, maybe I can trust. For this kind of AI output, I might need a second opinion, and create some kind of an audit trial, something like, why we did not accept certain suggestion that is given by AI. The next piece, the major piece is the ownership friction. When AI generates the code and tests, whose accountability if it breaks? That's the question that we started from, right? So I would say the domain experts would still stay accountable whether the code is generated by AI or a human or a tester, whoever it is. The domain experts would still stay accountable. A developer can use AI to generate the code, but developer is still accountable for its code quality. A tester can use AI to generate the test, but tester is still accountable for the test strategy overall. AI. So what I'm trying to say here is AI is a responsible party it would generate, but humans are the accountable party. Okay. The third piece is the governance, right? The friction. So this much of collaboration is happening. This much of collaboration is happening. So we need governance. Whether the governance go chaos or would governance speed us? Sorry. Will it become an hurdle or will it speed us? More collaboration is what I'm talking about. The more collaboration could mean more meetings, more decisions, and more bottlenecks. So what I would say, the solution is simple. The solution is simple. They decide on the rights framework, go with lightweight rituals, something like, or have your quick sync ups rather than the long meetings. Establish very upfront the decision rights, something like who decides what at what phase, at each phase, at what point of time, something like that. Have an escalation paths very clearly defined. Where should I go if it's stuck somewhere? Governance is I would say governance isn't about the control, it's about the clarity. So everyone knows who decides what, then collaboration creates speed, not chaos. So, how do we so the summary of overcoming the adoption friction: build the trust in AI and maintain the ownership with the expert, and ensure is some part of effective governance. Governance is about the clarity, not about the control. So this is what I was talking about. What is the decision rights framework that I was talking a couple of minutes back. So it is something like, okay, let me show you on the screen. This is on the screen, right? The sample decision rights framework. Who decides when the requirements are finalized? The product manager, along with the inputs from dev and QA. Not he cannot go ahead and say finalize all alone, but it should be consulted, because the AI is disrupting the roles now. Who decides when architecture is approved or not? The dev lead. The dev lead should decide whether the architect is approved or not. But of course, from the consultation from the QA. Meet the bar quality, whether it's of the good quality or not. Obviously, QA. And who decides when we ready to ship? It's cross-functional. All of us together would decide that. This is changing. So the ultimately what I would like to convey from this slide is the decision rights framework, the lightweight rituals, the escalation paths would lead to the faster collaboration rather than the chaos, and clarity drives the speed. This is the governance that scales the collaboration without any bottlenecks. So this is all good. So where do I start? Where do I start my adoption? Where do I start being the three amigos, right? Where do we start? So we looked at the challenges. Now let's let's talk about the path forward. The transition isn't, this is the transition, right? The transition doesn't, believe me, the transition doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the stages. The first stage is your assist stage. That is what Adam was talking about. Start using the tools, then augment phase, then co-create phase. Each stage builds on the last stage, and you cannot skip forward, but you don't need to wait to be, you know, get perfection at one phase. Let me go through each of the stages. Okay, in the first phase, the assist phase, the goal of the assist phase is just to start with your adoption. In this phase, what we would be doing, the goal is learn what AI can do, build the confidence in AI, and teams start using the AI tools individually. Developers uses Copilot, testers uses some Copilot, GitHub Copilot for AI tests, or some other Copilot, or the test generators using AI. The product owners use some sentiment analysis tools. The key here is all output is reviewed by humans before the use. Because they still did not get confidence on AI. They still did not get how, the team still did not get how to use AI in the right way also. So the all output is reviewed by humans till the point they get confidence in what we are doing. You are not restruct here in this phase. You are not restructuring the roles, okay? But you are just adding AI to the existing processes. That's it. That's your start phase. That's your assist phase. What you can measure here, maybe something like the percentage of AI tools usage on the weekly basis, on a daily basis, maybe time saved on my repetitive tasks, time saved on, team sentiment. Team sentiment is positive about AI, that you can measure. And the next question is, when do we move, when how do I see that, I move from assist phase to augment phase? That, I would say, that would evolve very naturally. People would start asking something like, why are we still handing off our work when AI can do, and we can do it together? That's the starting point for your phase 2, stage 2. Stage 2 is all about, the augment model. Here we need to start once you get confidence in AI, right? And enter the augment model. You need to start rebuilding your workflows, redefine the roles, transform the culture, etc., etc. Now in this phase, you are not just adding AI to the workflows, but you are building workflows around what AI can do. Developers shift focus from boilerplate to the architectures. Testers shift from execution to the strategy. Product owners shift from spec writing to insight integrators, etc., etc., etc. The new collaboration and the new rituals would arise. A quick catch-ups would arise, right? The planning meetings in the PI planning would include the risks that are highlighted by AI, something like AI risk insights. The code reviews would happen, but would happen with both dev and QA together. These are the new rituals that might arise. Maybe the quality gates require cross-functional validations, etc., etc. I'm just giving an example, but that depends on from team to team how they emerge, they evolve. The new roles here would emerge, like the prompt architect, who that we were discussing some time back, and QA validator, product AI analyst, etc. And here, how do we measure whether we are successful here or not? How do we measure? The number of handoffs are going down. People are, thinking why and how I should do it, and that's the mind shift that we needed to go to co-create. And when do I go to co-create? It again happens very naturally. People start trusting in the AI, start taking up their own, the new roles, and the seamless collaboration is there. Okay, that is your co-create phase. But in the co-create phase, teams start viewing AI as a collaborator rather than just a tool. They partner with AI to boost their productivity. They're asking questions like, what's the best outcome with AI and humans working together, something like that. Governance is embedded into the workflows. Cross-functional collaboration is taken default. Sprint planning includes dev, QA, PO from the start, not as an add-on. Continuous learning is baked in, etc., etc. So, and how much time should we spend in the co-create phase? To be honest, this is an ongoing phase. And how do we measure it? The time to market should increase. Time to market would decrease. Sorry for this word. And competitive advantage, the competitive advantage isn't in having the best AI tools in the plate. Everyone has those own, has access to the same tools. The advantage is having the cultural change and workflow that lets the humans and AI collaborate seamlessly. So, long story short, this is the the transformation stages of adoption that I was talking about. Assist, the phase assist, where the learning, you spend most of the time learning the new tools, trying to apply it to your team, what is happening, etc., etc. Augment is the phase that team starts thinking about, what are the workflows that I can build around AI, and how I can expand my own origins, all that stuff. And co-create is the partnership with AI, the real mastery. So here is the clear path forward. What should I do? Start with the assist phase, build confidence, prove the value, move on to the augment phase, rebuild the workflows, redefine the roles, transform the culture. This is the real change. This is the real change, right? This is the real change. Each stage builds on the last one. So do not skip the first phase and directly get into the augment phase. You would bind to fail. But at the same time, you cannot yourself be in the assist phase for a longer period of time. That would be the productivity loss. And then and then the team gets into the co-create phase. Then lead the change in your organization. Organization. The teams who is winning with AI are the ones who are following these phases successfully. So here is what I want you to live with. If you are a QA engineer, pick one feature a week, or this week, or one feature a week. Try an AI test generator or something like that. Try using AI to inject into your work, like generate some test cases, generate some automation codes, something like that. But validate the output. Start validating the output carefully. Share your learnings with your team. Start building your future. Okay, and start small, one experiment at a time. Show your team that it's not a threat, it's an upgrade that you are doing, so that you can motivate all your team members. Here is what I believe: the future of the quality is not in the not in more and more automation, but it's more in more in the smarter collaboration. Okay, the teams that figure out how to collaborate with AI are the true partners. Those teams would ship faster and with high quality. Okay, finally, start small, start together, lead the AI evolution. Thank you. I would take the questions now.
Your presentation was absolutely fantastic. Thank you. We have a few questions from the platform. Let's discuss them. So the first question, will AI replace my role?
That's a very fantastic question. That very fantastic question. The As we discussed, AI is actually not going to replace any roles, but definitely it is going to transform your roles. AI is basically, the role boundaries. That is what we were discussing. The role boundaries were getting blurred. The sometime back, maybe a couple of years, till couple of years back, the automation testers, we were very proud saying that we can code in three different languages. No longer it's a niche skill, right? Even a developer can write the test cases, can write the automation code, even even if a functional test engineer can write the automation code right now. So that is what I'm saying. The boundaries of the roles are blurry, and everyone is expanding their horizons. So it is not good. Definitely, it is not going to replace your role, but it is going to redefine your role, and you would be doing a higher value creative and strategic work rather than the routine regular work. Okay, let me take the next question.
Very interesting. Next question. Everything sounds great in principle, but governance might become a bottleneck. Any best practices you would like to share?
You somebody got this question very right. So more, this is what I was trying to explain. The governance, the moment the governance comes into the picture, right? Governance is not about control. It's about collaboration, clarity, right? The more clarity you have, the more collaboration you have, you would move much more faster. Yes, I understand the concern. Something like governance introduces, disciplines, and more meetings, more and more catch-ups, etc., etc. But however, the some of the best practices, let me tell you, some of the best practices start with a lightweight governance process frameworks rather than a big huge ones. Whatever works for your team. Okay, whatever works for your team. Do not go for something like, okay, all of our team members should meet up daily in the morning, for 30 minutes. No, it is not needed. So define what are the collaboration touch points that you want, something like that. Start with a very lightweight process for everything. You don't need a meeting. You just need a 5 minutes coffee break catch up. Could be. Okay, go with that lightweight approach and involve the cross-functional teams. The spirit of agile, right? Involve the cross-functional teams into the every decision. The AI is actually enabling all of us to go more agile. Okay, more agile. Involve the cross-functional teams early to the policies, or to the meetings, to the decision making uh, ceremonies, basically. And the another best practice that I would say is very clearly define whose ownership is this. Say something like, if something goes wrong, who is accountable? If something goes wrong, AI is generating. As I was telling, AI is a responsible party, but the accountability still lies with the domain experts. Communicate very clearly the ownership and decision rights. That would avoid delays. If you follow these best practices, right, whatever works for the team, establish the governance in such a way, and it would work. It would actually yield into much more faster process than slowing down. Probably let me take the last question in the interest of time.
Awesome. And the last question, How do you measure the effectiveness and value of the synergy achieved through the integration of AI into software development processes?
Measures, right? What do we measure? How do we measure? Anyway, tomorrow there is a topic about the metrics, but let me give you a very high level view of what we can measure. uh, Obviously, the first thing that everyone asks is, by using AI, what is your productivity gain? What did you gain? So how do we what do you measure? It's very simple. How much time I reduced myself, how much time I gained myself by reducing the repetitive work. I might be doing the same login form, same regression test executing one more time. How much time did I gain by delegating this repetitive work to AI? How much faster the cycle times are? How much manual effort did I reduce? That's a very good metric in terms of productivity. But in terms of quality, what you can measure is uh, the defect rates, defect rates. It should go lower, and the automation coverage can be increased, and fewer defects getting escaped to production. These can be your quality metrics that you can feel. And also, you can run out the surveys to the teams on something like how good you trust AI. Something like, user and team confidence can be measured through the survey forms on trust, usability, and making effectiveness. And obviously, the final area that we need to see whenever we call about metrics is the business impact. The business impact, how fast we go to the market, and how much cost did we save. I hope that's good on answer your question. Thank you, everyone. And you have my email ID, LinkedIn ID on the screen. You can connect me offline. Thank you. See you soon.
Excellent, Srini, thank you. Guys, if your questions weren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Thank you, Srini, for your answers and for your bright and inspiring presentation. Your experience, professionalism, and passion for software quality motivate and energize the entire audience. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and helping teams reach new heights. Your contribution is truly valuable to all conference participants. Guys, stay with us. We're about to play a game together with Azat. Azat, move on.
Okay, guys, hello everyone. Again, please join the game using this pin code in your mobile app or on Kahoot.it page. I also shared the link in the chat, so you can join the game using this link. Let's wait just a minute so everyone can join the game, and we will start. Okay, for those who joined, for those who win, we have prizes for winners, so it's going to be competitive, I believe. Okay, people are coming. 55 people already. Just a few seconds more and we will start. Okay, while people are joining, I will tell you our game rules. So it's our second game today. This game is about applying AI in SDLC. So you will have 10 questions, and for each question, you will have 3 out of 4 answers are correct. So you have to select 3 correct answers for each question. To do it, you will have 45 seconds. And the faster you select correct answer, the more points you get. And the one who scores the most points in the end is the winner. And for this winner, we have the valuable prize. So let's go. Question number 1. Multi-select. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools on analysis phase of SDLC. Generate user stories from raw input, identify ambiguities or missing requirements, summarize stakeholders' interviews, or make final decisions on scope and priorities. Please select 3 answers. 3 of these 4 are correct. Only 1 is wrong. Okay, 15 seconds left. Two, one, time. Yeah, that might be tricky to select the correct answers, but yes, make final decisions on scope and priorities is not correct way to apply AI. Okay, Natalia in the first place. Next question. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools on design and architecture phase of SDLC. Ensure compliance with enterprise standards. Review architecture for security and scalability. Suggest design patterns, or generate architecture diagrams from text. Please select 3 correct answers. Okay. 5 seconds left. So, ensure compliance with enterprise standards is not a correct answer, actually. Yes. And we have a new scoreboard. Okay, next question. Question number 3. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools on implementation phase of SDLC. Generate boilerplate code or templates, explain complex code snippets, understand domain-specific business logic deeply, and generate unit tests. So 3 of these answers are correct. Please select all of them. Yeah, there are some ways that AI tools are not applicable, at least today. Two, one, and time. Yes, understand domain-specific business logic deeply is not a way to apply AI. Yeah. Okay, next question. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools on testing phase of SDLC. Automate test script generation, generate test cases from requirements, validate usability and accessibility manually, and analyze test results and logs. I'm sure there are a lot of testers today on this game, so it should be not so hard for you, I hope. Ten seconds left. And yes, of course, validate usability and accessibility manually is not the way to apply. Okay, next question. Select all correct ways on deployment phase of SDLC. Generate deployment scripts, handle unexpected deployment failures in real time, draft release notes, and suggest CI/CD pipeline configurations. I'm sure most of you are familiar with basics, at least with basics of CI/CD and deployment phase. So it would be not so hard for you. Okay, 5 seconds left. Yeah, handle unexpected deployment failures in real time is not the way AI can help us, at least today. Next question. Question number 6. Select all correct ways to apply on maintenance and support phase of SDLC. Handle sensitive customer interactions, detect anomalies in logs, analyze user feedback for improvements, and generate patches or hotfixes. AI can do many things, but not all of the things. Okay, 5 seconds left. Yeah, handle sensitive customer interaction is not the correct way to apply AI tool. Okay, let's move on. Question number 7. Select all correct ways to apply tools as a software quality engineers. Drafting a test strategy, automation feasibility analysis, perform exploratory testing, and testing approach analysis or selection of test tools. There are some things that should be done manually, still manually, and yeah, AI is not very good at these things. Ten seconds left. Three, two, one. Yes, perform exploratory testing is not the best way to use AI tool. Okay, next question. Select all the correct ways to apply AI tool as a software quality engineer. Understanding business risk and prioritization, design test cases, create auto tests, or generate test scripts like SQL, PowerShell, etc. I believe for software quality engineers, it's the easy question. And 70 people already answered. Okay, 10 seconds. Of course, understanding business risk and prioritization is not the best way to apply. Okay, Yelena is still on the top. And one more question. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools as a software quality engineer. Test automation code refactoring, interpreting complex test failures, debug test automation code, or generate test data. If you are actively using AI tools in your daily routine, I believe it would be easy for you to answer. 10 seconds left. Yes, interpreting complex test failures is not the best way. Well, for not complex test failures, it might be okay. And Gregory on the first place. Okay, last question. It's your last chance to score some points. Select all correct ways to apply AI tools as a software quality engineer. Drafting technical documentation, selection of test tool, compiling a summary report after testing concludes, team collaboration and communication. "20 seconds left and 70 people already answered. "5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Yes, team collaboration and communication is not the way to apply AI tool. Okay, let's see who is the winner of the second game. Third place, MB. Congratulations. Juliana on the second place, and our winner is Grigori. Okay, thank you guys everyone. I hope you had some fun. Now let's move on. Alim, move on. Over to you.
Guys, how was the game? I'm sure you had fun. Don't miss out on our special challenge happening on social media. Check out our channels for more details and get involved in the excitement. And now, please welcome our next honorary speaker, an expert with over 14 years of experience in QA. He masterfully handles both manual and automated testing, builds reliable frameworks, manages teams and processes, and implements best quality practices in agile projects. Today at our conference, we have someone who sets the standards in the world of QA and inspires teams to achieve new heights. Meet Alexei Slavutsky. Alexei, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, hello. I'm happy to be here, and I'm also happy to present the topic related to AI-infused application testing. Let me share my screen and let me start. Okay. I hope you see my screen. Let me know if not. Let me start. So today I'm gonna to share the topic related to testing of AI-infused application, which is a new challenge nowadays, and it gives us, again, a lot of questions, a lot of issues, and on other hand, a lot of opportunities to, let's say, ensure the quality of the solutions with AI. A few words about myself. I'm senior quality architect, working like 16 years in IT, and again, like about 13 years in EPAM. I am part of the test competency center, working with different clients and especially addressing AI-infused application testing challenges and projects as a part, as a co-head of AI-infused application testing practice. Let's start. So first of all, before we will start addressing testing approaches, let's think and let's talk about the AI-infused application components to be tested, because AI-infused application, this is, let's say, it consists of different elements, and each of these elements has, let's say, some capabilities, some way they are working, or like elements, again, they consist of. So to be able to ensure quality of AI-infused application, we must address all of them. all of these, let's say, quality requirements and requirements of each of these elements. Partially, each application having AI under the hood is similar to the regular application, like having infrastructure that is based on having backend, having front end, and working as entire system again with the combinations of elements listed on this page. On other hand, there are some specific elements included in that application and working in scope of that again application. And these elements specifically, let's say, produce or like address some AI functionality, let's say, elements or some functions. I mean, some functions for AI system. First of all, it's input data. And as an input, I'm talking about the prompts. And we can have like user prompt, we can have system prompt, and quality of the prompt, again, any prompt or like any input information, it's super important for like entire system work. On other hand, we can have LLM, large language model, or we can have SLM, like small language model, which also have some parameters to be verified. Of course, we must verify output. We have to control tokenization because the LLM usage is not for free. And performance. And now I'm talking about the performance of the LLM. So let's do not confuse it with performance of the entire system. Then we might have RAG, retrieval, which is like abbreviation for retrieval augmented generation, which is also like working and storing context of communication with LLM. And again, the quality of the data sources, the quality of, let's say, data retrieval from vector database, this is super important and must be addressed. We might have guardrails, which are rules explaining to LLM how it must behave. And again, we might have chatbot, I mean, as entire, let's say, some of the AI-infused application products, we might consider chatbot, for example. And each chatbot has its own specific. And if we are talking about the specific, let me, for example, as an example, to tell you about the dialogues, because when we're asking question, then we are having answer, but the conversation is not only the questions and answers, and the quality of the chatbot, it's also about the quality of dialogue. So how properly user intent was recognized, how good that chatbot, let's say, storing context and storing that the history of the conversation with the user. And again, how good it is to address or like to build that dialogue appropriately according to the company rules, the company standards. It might be voice chatbot, so you can communicate with kind of the real voice function, and you will be able to interrupt that voice communication, so you don't need to wait until the communication is over. Also, yeah, we can consider agents, which are like orchestrating maybe some inputs and using tools to develop or to produce some output. So not only LLM output, like having text, but also, again, doing some functional activities like maybe like creating Jira ticket, for example. So this is, I would say, very short explanation about the AI components and let's say the complexity, how to address the quality of such a solution, which might be combined from different type of the components. But if we are talking about main, let's say, areas to be controlled, there are three I'd like to mention and share with you. There are, like, let's say, three most important areas to be verified. The first one is data. So data, that's the only thing that LLM is working with. And of course, we must be super good, super precise with data, like training data for LLM. We must good, let's say, with data for testing. So what kind of the testing input data we're using and how good they are to address real challenges. And of course, prompts. So nothing can be done without, like, I mean, you will not be able to ensure the system quality without like having good quality data, input, mostly input data. Then the second block is LLM itself, or like solution with LLM as a core component. Of course, like you might know that the LLM output, it's a non-deterministic information, so you can't easily evaluate it as passed. I mean that output as passed or fail, or good or bad, just because it always in between. You will always have some response, but in reality, that response must be better, or like maybe it will not be ideal having bigger size, for example. So, for example, again, it also might be important that we expect to have like answer, like short answer, but eventually we will have like answer having like several sentences, which might be not ideal for some of the chatbots, for example. Then again, retrieval augmented generation and guardrails. So everything related and let's say building this LLM core functionality must be addressed with this non-deterministic way of the evaluation. And the last one, it's entire system. So it's still application. It's still working as a system. And this system might be a part of bigger system, which is which might be a problem. So you need to ensure all the integration are done properly. You need to ensure that everything works as expected, web UI and so on. Let's consider the first area with failed study. So there are a few failed studies I'd like to share to you. This is the real projects having real problems, and I'd like to share these problems with you and also explain how we were able to address to like ensure that or like fix these problems. So the first one, that was the project in healthcare domain, and in scope of that project, EPAM developed AI chatbot answering patients, like question of the patients. And that chatbot was tested actually by SMEs. So the real doctors verified chatbot work, asking some questions, mostly related to the medications, like to the drugs, and expecting that the chatbot, let's say, according to drug name, maybe will answer some questions. And again, one of the issues that, for example, for the quantity, that was only one term, which was dosage. But in reality, during the UIT, we understood that intent recognition, like the ability of the chatbot to answer questions, it's zero, like despite of that way of testing, because the real users, let's say, asked questions differently, and the format of the questions was different from what was expected. So one of the issues that was like that the real users were not involved, and also there were no metamorphic testing addressing different way of the questions to be asked, because you can rephrase the question, you can make mistake during the question during the asking that question. You can do a lot of like strange things, and actually we have to try to address this way of like communication. And again, definitely I would say crowd testing or like verification of the real user requests must be in place to be able to formulate, to be able to build that test data correctly and training data correctly. Because in this case, in this particular case, data for the LLM training were not correct. That's why LLM was not able to answer the questions asked. And of course, the testing data were also not ideal, just because again there were no like option to predict the what will be asked. So again, how to address? We have to validate different ways of the data. We have to develop different options, or like let's say approaches how this question will be asked. And again, we're talking about, first of all, metamorphic data, metamorphic testing, and we are talking about the real user intent detection. That's it. Next one. So now we are moving to failure with AI, with the core element. In fail study related to this topic, that was also chatbot. And actually, that chatbot was also like aimed to answer some questions and let's say communicate with users. But and yes, and for that project there was the QA team testing that chatbot. The main issue that this QA team was not equipped with let's say understanding of or like the approach of how to test AI solutions. So testing was mostly done manually, and let's say these questions were asked. Also, test automation was built based on Selenium, verifying web UI and verifying that all, let's say, layout is good, and we're able to ask question with web UI, which is not bad, but it's not able to, let's say, address AI-specific issues. And of course, like, okay, the evaluation of the answer itself, it's super complex. So the real human, like the real tester, will not be able to clearly explain why the answer of the chatbot is good or bad. I mean, okay, yeah, we able to understand if the answer was totally bad, like, or again, the quality of the answer totally inappropriate. But what about if they slightly different? So how to measure? The main question is like the quality must be measurable. And in case of verification of GenAI output, we must base on some, let's say, numbers evaluating that output. So for this particular project, the main problem was inability to explain and control, let's say, quality of the answer in the measurable way. Because, okay, we might have good answer. Then the AI solution will be changed. And we also will have plus minus good answer. But how to understand if it becomes better or we have issue with that answer? It's impossible without measurable, let's say, evaluation of the output. So there are few approaches how it must be evaluated. The one is human in the loop, which is like a good one, but still it's not enough. The second one, this is evaluation with metrics, and there are some number of tools calculating these metrics, also giving you opportunity to to introduce custom metric. And the third one, you also can use approach which is called LLM as a judge, when LLM is evaluating the quality of the output. And you even can use different type of the models evaluating the target model. So if you, for example, testing GPT, then you can evaluate outputs with Gemini, and because of that, probably it will be more, let's say, independent approach. Also, having that, again, measurable evaluation, mostly it's from 0 to 1. So like in between this range, you can define what is failed and what is passed. So for example, you can, let's say, introduce prompt having recommendations to LLM to evaluate, like to consider, for example, 0.7 as a, let's call it pass score, success score, and if the response is like good one, then evaluating in it with more than 0.7, less with bigger number, and if it's not such a good, then less. So I would say the measurable way of the evaluation is pretty important. And here is the tools addressing different type of metrics. There are at least 4 groups I'd like to mention. The first one is related to RAC, and this is context precision contextual metrics. The second related to LLM itself, and again, performance, security, tokenization, memory, bias, which is one of the again metrics related to LLM. Then generation metrics, and if we're talking about generation, that it means how good LLM is generating output. And mostly we're talking about the accuracy, again, hallucination rate, but there are much more metrics. And the last but not least, ethical compliance. So the bias, toxicity, fairness, so how the answer complies with different type of the, let's say, the rules that we have to stick. And you can see the names of the tools doing this evaluation. So again, they are pretty well known, like Ragas, DeepEval, like you can use them to evaluate. The only issue that this is more for coding, so that's mostly addressed by automation testers. It will not be easy to address, like the usage of this tools will not be easy for manual testers. Now, system itself. So for the system itself, we have a solution based on, this is agentic solution based on WhatsApp, and it was developed to, let's say, perform some actions with the Salesforce. And input was expected with several languages. So the main issue was that there were no much engineers. There was only one engineer working part-time. And actually, this person was not able to address whole entire solution requirements, like including integration, including web UI, including questions, and of course, including the different languages. That's why it was super bad, super complex to ensure quality on such a project. Now, moving further, efficiency. And when I'm talking about efficiency, I'm talking about test automation. So this fail study, it's honestly a case study I converted. And there was a project, again, developing chatbot. And there were two testers who spent 5 days testing that solution, like asking questions. And again, they did it all the time, like each sprint, and spent too much time and were limited with time because the number of questions to be verified, it might be thousands of questions. So we, like addressing this issue, we implemented automation testing into this project, which gave us which shortened execution time from 5 days to 2 days, and give us a chance to optimize work in 50%. So that was only one tester who was able to execute everything, and the second one was moved to another tasks. I would say it was done with AI test automation tool we are developing in EPAM, which is called Liam. And this tool is developed to, again, test chatbots and AI agents. It's able to, let's say, ask questions, and mostly with REST API, and collect answers, and then evaluate the quality of the answers using different metrics and evaluating different, let's say, scoring and evaluating the quality. Also, it might be implemented into CI/CD portal, and it was introduced for, I would say, for about 20 different projects across EPAM, and like really able to produce benefits, and again shorten, let's say, testing and make it efficient. Maybe just a few words about the solution itself. So there are four, let's say, services, for modules in scope of the solution for AI-infused application testing. The first module addressing generation of the testing data, because I don't think you want to create these thousands of questions manually. So there are some approaches to generate the main questions and expected answers based on the internal documentation or based on the user stories. The second, this is execution block. And again, you should be able to execute, automatically execute tests against web UI, REST API, voice, and even having some assertions for the functional verification, because in reality, if we're talking about the AI agentic solutions testing, the testing is a combination of non-deterministic and deterministic requirements. So as a step one, you might evaluate GenAI output. As a step two, you might evaluate the Jira ticket is really created and populated correctly. So that's kind of the combination, different type of the evaluations. Then observability, and it's very important to control the number of tokens, average number spent for the communication with chatbot, and solution performance. And of course, reporting, because for the reporting, it's also important to analyze the quality of, for example, dialogue, or quality maybe of entire agentic workflow, like starting from correct intent recognition, then like triggering work with some particular, so with some appropriate tool, and then controlling that tool working correctly. This is kind of end-to-end approach. So I would say I'm done. And yeah, thank you for listening. And yeah, I'm ready for your questions.
Hi, Alexei. That was absolutely great. Thank you. The audience has a few questions on the platform. Let's discuss them. So, Alexei, the first question, are you planning to AI tester as a primary or secondary skill?
Okay. Yeah. So right now we're developing, and actually we have a skill in EPAM, which is AI-infused application tester. So this as a first stage, and yes, and we are developing the training programs for this skill, and definitely it will be introduced as a secondary skill. So if someone can will pass that course and maybe having some practical experience, he or she can have that title assigned as a secondary skill. Maybe in the future it also will be even as a primary skill, but right now I would say the main focus to to introduce this skill across all the e-commerce. So we will have a lot of people able to address this type of testing, and we will be able to help our clients to ensure their product quality. This.
Very interesting. Next question. From your personal experience, what are the main challenges in AI testing, and what are the best practices to address them?
Thank you. Thank you. So I would say there are two main challenges I see. The first one, it's ability to select or develop appropriate testing approach, which will cover quality for each particular solution, which is always unique, and ability to identify the metrics for the quality evaluation. Because sometimes you must develop your own custom metric to evaluate quality, and you will not be able to reuse any existing. This is possible. And the second one, this is efficiency, because again, there are huge number of inputs or huge number of data source types, or the data source elements to be analyzed. And I would say you can't only so even if you will find approach to properly evaluate, for example, work with images or with voice, it doesn't mean you can do it effectively. So the second one, again, this is about the mostly test automation solution and ability to execute test cases effectively. Don't spend much time for this. I'm done.
Really? Awesome. And the last question. How many projects currently incorporate AI-driven testing, and which industry domains are actively integrating AI technologies into their products?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. I would say we started developing AI-infused application practice 2 years ago. And maybe starting this year, we are facing with big number of the projects, having, I would say, few projects, facing with several projects in each month. So I believe that right now, most of the customers introducing AI into their solutions. And I'm not talking about it, that's not only about chatbots or, for example, AI agents. It's also about SDLC, because if you are improving the quality of your processes, asking AI to generate test cases, you still need to ensure that the test cases, the quality of test case generation is good. So I would say right now there are big number, and again, it's very complex to calculate, but there are a lot of requests right now. Talking about the domains, I would say in first case, again, we have, in first place, we have as most common solution, it's a chatbot. And the companies working with the customers, having user input, they really developing these solutions a lot. So this is again, it's a bit complex to identify domain, but definitely healthcare and e-commerce. So the companies again communicating in B2C, like business to customers, or no? Okay, yeah, that's it.
Excellent, Oleksiy. Thank you. Guys, if your questions aren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Thank you, Oleksiy, for your answers, your inspiring presentation, and valuable insights. Your practical experience and expertise in software quality motivate and help professionals grow. We appreciate you sharing your knowledge and maintaining a high standard in the industry. Folks, thanks to everyone who joined us. Come back tomorrow. It's going to be amazing.